Afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for joining our AEC Lunch and Learn. My name is Eric Curtola, Territory AEC Account Manager here at Ketiv. With me, I've got my friend and colleague, Fred Ortiz, AEC Solutions Engineer. Today, we're going to be with you guys for about 45 minutes. We're going to leave some time at the end for questions. So today's topic, BIM 360 Docs, what is it, really, why did we choose it? I'd say the biggest reason Fred and I are excited to show you BIM 360 Docs is not because it's the latest or greatest Autodesk product necessarily, but really because of its relevance. It solves a problem we see a lot of our customers having. That's that they don't really have a great way to manage their project data right now today. A lot of times we see customers maybe using 3 or 4 or sometimes 5 different solutions to kind of manage data, and that's what BIM 360 Docs really does do. It enables the whole project team to always have that single source of truth, we like to call it. So it has tools for you to actually publish drawings, manage, review, edit, markup, and I should say more than just models or drawings, just all your project data in the cloud.
Exactly.
The whole idea being, again, we're not going making costly changes. We're saving time because we have an efficient place to access all of that, right, Fred?
Right.
So, Fred, what are we going to be talking about today?
As far as my agenda, we're going to begin today's Lunch and Learn by talking about the benefits of utilizing BIM 360 Docs on construction document management projects. Also through my live sessions, you're going to be learning the BIM 3 Docs interface, how to add members and assign roles, how to create folders and assign permissions to those folders. I'm going to show you how to create, publish, and apply a title block template to your published documents. And then we're going to look at the different viewing capabilities and markup tools for models and 3D models and 2D sheets. And then at the end, we're going to go over managing document versioning.
Cool. And then again, we'll have time for questions at the end.
All right, so BIM 360 Docs was built specifically for construction projects, right? And to support the entire project team from design through the owner occupancy. BIM 360 Docs offers a host of features and benefits across the 4 key areas of document management. You have publishing, sharing, viewing, and modifying or marking up. And what BIM 360 Docs does, it provides industry-specific capabilities for managing your 2D plans, 3D models, and other project documents. It gives you that role-based access control and version control to create that security in your project.
Okay. Sorry, Fred. Let me jump in and interrupt you there. Yeah, that's one thing. At least talking to a lot of our customers, that's something that's really important. Role-based access control. Right. So other tools can't do that. Just limiting not only per user but per folder what sort of access they have. Whether this is someone that actually go ahead and edit the models, the sheets, or just strictly viewing purposes. BIM 360 Docs allows the administrator to change or deliver that sort of flexibility.
Right, yeah. The admin can also add a controller, what they're called, to help out with that as well. So
perfect.
That's a cool tool. And also, it's highly integrated with other BIM 360 products such as Field or Glue, like we showed you a couple weeks ago, which is another pretty cool BIM 360 tool. Another benefit is seamlessly integrates with authoring apps and existing cloud systems, so it virtually supports all 2D and 3D file formats, and it's tightly integrated with AutoCAD and Revit, which are like the 2 most prevalent tools in our industry right now. Another benefit is it delivers anywhere, anytime collaborative access to the entire project team. So you have web and mobile access to all your project plans, 3D models, and documents with no software download required, and that's key right there. Because being at Ketiv, I get a lot of calls with customers having issues trying to download their software, find the license, activate it. So you're not going to have to deal with any of those headaches with BIM 360 Docs. It also has some collaborative viewing, markup, and issue management, and you could also view your models in 2D and 3D project views. And last but not least, what BIM 360 Docs does, it ensures that all project teams are building from the most current document versions, giving you that single source of truth like Eric was talking about before. So you have your cloud repository with mobile access that gives all team members access to the correct set of data at all times.
Right. It's one central place to manage the data, specific views and permissions for different users, markup capability.
Right. Exactly.
All in the cloud.
All in the cloud. All right, so let's just talk a little bit about some of the features about BIM 360 Docs. We do have some special purpose folders, which are folders that if you add items to them, they are treated with defined behaviors, and it kind of simplifies the publishing process.
Okay, Fred, so in layman's terms, for someone like myself who's not 100% familiar with that,
Yeah.
what does a special folder do? How is it different?
Right.
I guess?
Okay, so within Docs, there's two special purpose folders. You have your plans and your shop drawings. So within these folders, there's special behaviors, defined behaviors. So what happens is if you upload a multi-page PDF to the plans folder, it's actually going to separate those and extract them into single sheets for easier viewing and marking up capabilities. And also, if you add a 3D Revit model to the plans folder or shop drawings, it's going to extract the sheets that are contained in your Revit model and separate those out as well, and save time doing that. It kind of simplifies the publishing process for you.
So it automates extraction of the sheets
Exactly.
and it automatically organizes it for me.
Exactly.
So, again, the whole idea is saving time and doing it efficiently.
Exactly.
Nice.
And it's designed for specific documents as well, like PDFs, Revit files, AutoCAD files, DWFs, etc. So getting back to that, the special purpose folders, there's a thing called title block extraction. So what happens is when you publish your set to your plans folder or your project folder or your shop drawings folder, it's going to ask you to create a title block template for that. And what that does is it uses the title block template for your published drawings, and it extracts certain information that you want from that title block to apply to your published set. So it defines data such as drawing names and number to be extracted, and select folder attributes that can be mapped with defined text within that title block. So it's creating like a title block template, so when you publish, you don't have to go in there and manually type things out. It extracts like the sheet name and number for you, and you just kind of go in there, view it, and edit it if necessary.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. Making the title block once and then reducing the chance for manual error.
Right, and you could have multiple title block definitions as well. All right, as far as sheet extraction, like we're talking about with these special purpose folders, you can separate and manage individual 2D documents from 2D drawing files. So what happens is it automatically separates and organizes 2D documents from multi-sheet files like we talked about, quickly populating your folders with 2D drawing sheets. And this 2D supports 2D PDFs, DWFs, and of course DWG file formats. And touching on 3D models a little bit, it also does extract and manage individual 2D documents like we talked about, the sheets from Revit. It extracts those from the project Revit model and places those automatically inside the special purpose folders. So you'll have your 2D sheets and your 3D model readily available to view, markup, or download. Or
perfect. And then, yeah, just
share.
even looking at, interrupting here again,
Right.
but even looking at the user interface, I mean, that looks like my Outlook. That looks like something like someone like myself could very easily use or get dialed up on. Nothing too crazy going on.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think you can handle that. So yeah, it's a pretty easy interface to understand, and it's pretty straightforward in the processes. All right, so let's move on. All right, also within these publishing options, you can create custom attributes for your sheets. When you publish them, you can add certain titles like maybe you want to put a file size, or maybe you want to put drawn by. You could add drawn by, designed by. You could add all these different attributes to your title block and to your view. So you could go up there and see specific things you want to see in your drawing plan. And the cool thing about it is it's easy editable as well. So you could edit your document attributes in a list view like you kind of see on the screen, and you could just uncheck them or edit them and play with them as much as you want to get them to how you want them to be in your project. With all the different features, the publish, view, share, and markup, we're going to kind of go through talk about each one, and then we're going to do a live session on each topic, and we're going to go one at a time. So bear with us. So right now we're going to jump into
the whole idea being it's going to be a little more digestible. We feel like just doing one function at a time.
So right now here's my BIM 360 doc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sign in with my Autodesk account. So I'm signing in. And what you see right now, this is my BIM 360 Docs dashboard, and it's pretty straightforward. You have your view tabs up here, so I could go from that level to thumbnail level. Here's my upload tab. Over here, you'll see those special purpose folders I talked about, plans and shop drawings. Then down here is you have your project files, which be your specific drawings, models, etc. that have to do with your project. Maybe even some cut sheets. Design criteria, specifications, and really quick before we get more into the publishing aspect, let me kind of take you over here to the right. So over here by my picture up here, there's a gear, right? So I want to go to my project admin. So once I click on my project admin, this is where I could actually add members to my project. And who do we have on there, Eric? Can we see anybody added on there? We'll just kind of add somebody live if we can.
Yeah. Should we call them out by name?
Yeah.
Do Jim Ochoa.
All right, so I'm just going to do Jim Ochoa. He's part of our team here. So all you do is just go in, type his name, his email address, just like that. Just add him. Go over here, fill out his name once again. Jim Ochoa. Pick his company. He's with Ketiv. And we'll select his role. And since he's Eric's boss, we got to give him a high role. So we'll make him he'll be the document manager. There you go. So simple like that. And now Jim's added to our project. He's going to receive an email notification to accept the invitation, and then I'm going to receive something on my end to accept them in as well. So it's really simple to add your team members, as you saw. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to exit and go back to my BIM 360 docs page. And I got one more thing to show you before we move on.
Fred, let me interrupt you there. Going back to Jim's role or my role, we can change that role permission during the project, correct?
You can change roles. You can add roles. A person can have multiple roles. It's all good.
So again, different access for different folders for different people.
Right, and that's where it comes down. The permissions come down to that. So
great.
So one more thing really quick before we move on. You also have your account admin really quick. And I wasn't planning on showing this, but I think it's pretty important to see where we're going with this. So right here is your account admin, and this kind of just talks about your current project, your members in it. You could actually go through and see, this is my current project I have right now, just my Ketiv Technologies. It actually goes through and shows you members of your docs community. And if I keep going down a little bit further, it's got these multiple companies I kind of added in there. Just off the top of my head, I got my old company P2S, MB, which is a company we work with a lot, and then we got Pangolin Structural. And I just kind of threw these out there arbitrarily. And then down here, we just got some information about the account and your account administrators. And this is important right here. If I want to add another account admin, I could do it right here by adding them. That way, if I have 100 projects, I don't want to be managing them all, right? So maybe I could assign a couple more people to help me out.
Project manager might have a couple of projects on his plate.
Exactly.
And be on the admin. Perfect.
Exactly. All right, so now back over here to publishing. So if you look at my plans right here, I already published a set due to time constraints, so I published these guys in there, and I assigned a title block to them. But if you notice over here in my publish log, there's a little 1. I actually published another set of drawings, but I didn't assign a title block to that. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. So what happens is when I publish a sheet in there, excuse me, if I publish a sheet, I got to go back and assign a title block template. So if you go over here to the publish log, it's telling you right here that this particular PDF set I published needs a title block. So I click on Add Title Block. And this brings up my Define Title Block dialog box. So what I would do now is I could view the current file to extract some information from there, which I'll do. So let me just kind of zoom in a little bit down here. Bring up that title block. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to image crop that. So I'm going to image crop that area just right there, so I can concentrate on that area on my title block. And what that does now is it brings up that section for me to define what I want to show. So over here I want to put the number, right? So I'm going to select the area of the number for where to extract from. So I'm going over here and just laying that out. That's done. And then for my title, I'm going to go over here and edit that as well. And my title might encompass this whole empty area, so I'm going to kind of grab everything inside there without touching the lines, because the lines might mess up the translation. And for this title block, I could give it a name. I could give it a arc title block.
How creative.
Right? Put DD down there, and typical size, we usually do about 42 by 30. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay, so right now what it's doing, it's saving that title block to that specific set I published. I'm going to close that and wait for that to process. So while that's processing, let's jump into some of these project files over here. So you have your project files. This is where you're going to have your design files, maybe your architecture, civil, landscape, plumbing, etc. You're going to have some specification sheets here. You can put your different specs so everybody knows where to go get them.
Right.
Maybe you have some cut sheets in here for maybe a certain light fixture. You got a spec. You want to make sure you got the right one out in the field. So you can go over here and click on that and pull up your lighting spec really quick. If I go back to my design folder, maybe I'll have a Revit model in there that I could check up and click on that as well and kind of see where it's at. So this is all about the publishing. And if this Revit model updates and I upload another one, it's gonna version control that one and make the one I just published the newest version.
So that will automatically be the newest, and everyone will have that. Okay.
Exactly.
Hey, Fred, let me interrupt you and throw you a curveball here.
Sure.
I just saw a question come up from a couple questions. Let's do Marlon's first. How does BIM Docs know what sheets to extract from the Revit model?
Well, whatever, it extracts pretty much every sheet that you have set up in there. So if there's a dummy sheet that maybe isn't populated, once you go through the extraction and publishing of the documents, you could always go through and delete that one from that file.
So it's going to extract. It will extract every sheet tied to that model.
Exactly. Okay. And if there's, like I said, if there's ones you don't want, you just simply go in there and delete it.
Clean it up at the end.
Yeah.
Marlon, hopefully that answered the question there.
All right. All right, so let's move on. I'm going to bring my PowerPoint back up. Let's move on to the next next feature. So let's jump into the share permissions roles, and then we'll come back and see how that title block process. Hopefully it went well with this live session. So with share and permission roles, right, you can maintain control and with managed access at the project level and folder level. There are 5 permission levels: publish, view, edit, controller, and project admin. Project admins and controllers can manage user access and project documents. Permissions are set at the folder level, and any subfolder will inherit that permission set as its parent folder does have. And user permissions on subfolders cannot be lower than its parent folder. So parent folder is obviously the parent, right?
Right.
Okay. All right, so permissions levels defined just a little bit more. So the publish allows users to add files to the project or specified folder. The view allows users to view files contained in the project or specified folder, plus they can publish. The edit feature allows users to modify files contained in the project or specified folder, such as markups, plus you get a publish and view.
Right.
And then the control permission level allows users to change the settings and permissions of the folders, plus publish, view, and edit.
Right, and let me cut you off there.
Sure.
Let me emphasize on that. I think that's another really powerful aspect of BIM 360 Docs is, first of all, just that safety it gives you as far as managing documents, and then on top of that, the flexibility. It's so flexible that one person can have all those different permissions,
right,
just depending on the folders they're part of.
Right.
So that's, again, why we call it, you're synonymous to Vault in the cloud.
Right.
It's just totally custom and very powerful.
Yeah, lots of security and lots of permissions, and the project admin controls that, or the controller. And like I showed you earlier, you can have single or multiple admins on a project. All right, so with version control, you could upload, download, and manage versions. You could upload a large number of files at one time, which saves time. You can manage and track versions with automatic version control. So if you uploaded a set of documents for at the SD level, and there were some changes in the CD level, which is, of course, going to happen. Once you upload those CD documents to that same folder, it's going to automatically recognize that there was changes in those drawings, and it's going to give you that version 2 of that drawing. So you won't have both there to look at, but you can always go back and manage those versions if necessary.
Gotcha. So it gives me a history, but it's always making sure I'm on the latest version.
Exactly. So if there's an older version there under that version 2 or version 3, you could go back and make that older version current, and then you could download the most current version just in case you need to send it out or save it on your C drive, which is not a good thing to do. But maybe you have to send it to a consultant or something. So there you go. All right. So like I told you, we're going to go through different features, and then we're going to jump into live sessions. So let's do that again. So right now I'm going to go back and open up my docs. All right, so getting back to our plans and our folders, right? So as far as setting permission, it's really simple. So if I go over here onto the right and I do a right click, I could add permissions. And what this does is it brings up this permissions dialog box. So if I type in a person's name and go for Eric right here, so if I type in Eric's name, I could actually assign a permission level to him. Since I like him a lot, I'm going to give him the full control of this document. So I'm going to add him as a full contributor on that plan. So this is for the plan section. And if you want to go down here into your design, right, you could also set permissions for your design at the parent level. So if I go in here and give, let's say, give Andy some permission, let me give Andy something in here, and we'll give Andy a couple of highlights. We'll give him publish, view, and maybe edit.
He's a marketing guy.
Yeah,
I can't trust him.
Right. But anyway, so if I go down here and do the same thing, Andy's going to have the same permissions down here on this level. So like I was telling you, the permission levels are all dependent on the parent. So if you want to have specific permission levels on your actual folders. Maybe you just want to give the architect permission to work on his folder, and maybe you want to give the mechanical guys permission right there. You could do that as well. So with the permission levels, it's pretty easy to set and to manage.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, so there we go. We have multiple. You could always come in here and change them as admin or controller. You can change permission levels. So maybe Eric made me mad one day, so maybe I'll dump his permission level down a couple notches. But that's pretty much permission levels in a nutshell. There's not too much to show on that one, so
that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So let me just go back on that and jump back into my PowerPoint. All right, so let's jump in now to the viewing options. So within BIM 360 Docs, you can view, right? You view in list view. You can organize and manage all project folders, and like I was talking about, project admins can add or edit any project folder or subfolder. Users granted controller access, like I was talking about, are able to edit permissions on a folder. They can add and edit that folder and its subfolders. And another cool thing is you could also move one or more documents and versions from one folder to another with just a few simple clicks. You could also copy one or more documents and versions from one folder to another with the same few clicks available. And you can also, once you publish your documents and they're up in BIM 360 Docs, you could change the document name, but by default it comes in as your file name. But you could always change it once it's inside your docs.
Gotcha.
And another cool thing is you can delete and restore documents from your recycle bin, just kind of like you do on your desktop. So if you have some stuff you deleted by accident, or maybe you want to restore, you could always visit your recycle bin and access the deleted documents and restore those right there from the recycle bin.
Perfect.
All right, so with the thumbnail view, this is another cool feature. So upon upload, all supported formats of your 2D drawings and 3D models will automatically be processed for browsing on your web application or on mobile viewing. You could view 2D PDF drawings with optimized zoom capabilities to quickly review details on the title block or with your design. And you can also navigate from one document to the next using the arrow and thumbnail navigation tools, which I'll show you a little bit in the live session. And you actually don't have to leave the viewer to do that. You could just stay in the viewer and click through the different models and access the markups and versions.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Fred, so and I'm going to ask you a question too from
sure.
Looks like Chris after this. But so this looks familiar to a lot of the markup tools we see out there. Let's say a competitive product, right? I'm assuming it has the same type of functionality. I can go in there, I can make a markup, I can make a notice, and create some sort of change.
Yeah. So these views, this is similar also to like A360 Team or A360 Viewer, where you could view your large model on the screen. You could access the sheets in there as well. You could also go through and access the object properties of the model by clicking on a couple buttons on the bottom. Access the properties, access the objects in the model. You could do some zooming, panning, sectioning, and we'll get more into that when we jump into the markup portion.
So Chris, there you go. It's similar to A360. We'll talk to you a little bit more in detail once we get to the markup on how it's different.
Yeah. Right, and of course, like we talked about, there's mobile access as well. So there's a free app for iPhone and iPad that you can get for free. And on that app, it has a large model viewer, just like the web application, but it's optimized a little bit better for the iOS device. And a few things that the mobile app does have is responsive alerts and markup notifications. So let's say you're out in the field and you're looking at your building, trying to see if everything's up to par, right? You can mark up something that you need to change, and then have the designer or the engineer architect get notified from the field to make that change on his model.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So yeah, that's obviously very important.
Yeah, that's very important. Yeah, and also you can access this stuff online, but if you don't have internet connection out in the field, which is highly unlikely, pretty much everybody has internet access everywhere, but if you don't, you could always sync up your BIM 360 docs and take your mobile device offline on site.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, so let's jump into the viewing capabilities really quick. So if I go into one of my drawings and my plans, let's find a model down here. I go to my shop drawings, find a model. Just give me a second. So if I go over here and click on this architecture model, you'll notice right away it does look very similar to A360 Team or Collaboration for Revit.
Right.
It has a lot of the same tools. You can go down here, use the orbit tool, pan tool, zoom in and out, do my walkthroughs, gravity walkthroughs. Those are always fun. I'll have my markup tool right here, sectioning tool. There's my model browser. which brings up everything that has to do with my model, where I can drill down and find exactly what I need to see. Over here's my properties, and this will tell me who created this model, the building name, the date, all that good stuff you want to see from your model on the fly, on the web and on your mobile device. Alright, so really quick too, like I was talking about, if I click down here on this bottom, this will bring up all my thumbnails, so I could actually go through the whole set without leaving the viewer. So if I want to go check out a sheet, I could just go over here and click on that, and I could check out my sheet, see if the elevations are okay, close that down. I could actually do a markup here, and we'll be getting into that really soon. So you have your markup tools here, layer manager if you're using AutoCAD drawings, and you could actually view in full screen, which is kind of cool. Alright, so let me close this down, jump into here. So as far as views, this on the left looks really similar. We kind of talked about it already, but these are your project files. These are where you're going to keep all your design files, your architectural, mechanical stuff like that. Maybe you have some milestone deliveries, construction documents submittal. You can go in there and check out that, see what you guys submitted for CD, see if you have the latest version in there. So there's a lot of capabilities on viewing, which is pretty cool with this software. Let's move on back to the PowerPoint again, guys.
Fred, let me interrupt you with a quick question. Looks like Rick's got a question. The viewing capabilities or BIM 360 docs, is it only for iPhones, or do they have it for Android phones or tablets?
Right now it's only for the iPad or the iPhone.
iPad or iPhone right now only.
Yeah, but there are updates coming out, and what's really cool about BIM 360 docs is they're sending out updates every 2 weeks, which is a really aggressive schedule. So I want to give kudos to the BIM 360 development team for doing that. So every 2 weeks we're going to be seeing new features added to this software, which is really cool. So
none right now. Hopefully some soon to come, Rick.
Right. All right. So now let's touch on the markup and 2D and 3D markups. So recently the 3D markup capabilities was just added in an update. Like I was telling you, every 2 weeks they update this software. So now you're able to mark up 2D and 3D markups with simple to use markup tools. You have shapes and text. You could add markups, like I said, to both 2D and 3D documents, and you could limit the markup visibility to private, shared, or with a limited group, or only certain people you want to access those markups. And I do think, as far as notifications go, I think those will be added eventually to the desktop version as well, so you can send notifications out from your markups.
Okay. So similar to A360 team collaboration for Revit.
Exactly.
Someone reviews the Revit model, marks it up, an automatic notification will let the team members know that this has been changed and where it's been changed.
Exactly. All right, so that was just a quick little overview on the 3D markup tools, and let's just jump right back into that live session. All right, so let's say I wanted to go back and view those same drawings I was looking at. So if I click on my ARC model right here and bring up my view, click on my view, if you notice over on my left I have a markup. If you notice right there, there's a markup already there. So if I kind of zoom in my model and click on that markup, it's going to take me right to that markup that was already created. So right here it's saying this address should be 2016.
Okay.
So, and also this is your version history. So this tells you that there's been 2 versions added to this folder. So right now we're working on the most current one.
Gotcha. And I can go back and even review the changes or what it used to look like 4 or 5 versions ago if I had to look at that and see what sort of progress has been made.
Exactly. Yeah, you have control of that. So with the 3D markup tool, let me just throw one up there really quick. So I'm going to start a markup, put a cloud somewhere. How about over here? Around that window. Let me draw an arrow to it. Real simple arrow. Throw some text. For this one, maybe the color's wrong. Change color to, what's your favorite color? Blue?
Red.
Yankee blue?
Ketiv red.
Ketiv red. All right, I'll change color to Ketiv red. So now you have this markup right there ready to go. Then I go back up to my tool. I could actually go ahead and delete it if I don't want it. I could actually change some thickness of my lines. I could just add some regular objects like a square, circle, etc. And I could do some freehand sketching as well. So right now I'm just going to click Done to make that an active markup. So if I go back to my markups now, I have 2 right here that are available for review.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
So let me close that down and let me browse without leaving my viewer. Let me just browse to the left. Got a sheet file right here. Actually, let me throw my thumbnails up and go to the cover sheet. So if I look at this cover sheet, there's already a markup there, add a site plan to this cover sheet, which is typical. You know, you want to see where your site's at on your cover sheet when you're creating documents. So
Sure.
I also go over here, my markup's already there, like showing me it's there. I got my version control. There's only one version here, but I wanted to mark up a 2D set. It's pretty much the same thing. I'm just going to go down to my markup tool, create a cloud this time. How about this logo down here? Draw my arrow to the logo, put a piece of text. Let me say the logo is too small. Please increase the size. So that's added right there. Drop that into right by the arrow, and then done. So now we have that active markup on the sheet, and if I go to my markup history over here, they're both right there for easy access.
Gotcha.
All right, so that's pretty much the markup tool. So let me go ahead and close this markup down, and let me kind of touch upon the versioning control. So if you notice really quick in my shop drawings right here, you're going to see some say new, some say updated. So on the updated one, there's a version 2 right there stating that there's been another version of this file been added to it. So this right here is your most current single source of truth
So
drawing.
letting me know what is the most current.
Exactly.
That way I'm not making redundant changes or working off something that's outdated.
Right, exactly. So when you publish a document, a set of PDFs, and you publish another document with changes, it's going to automatically recognize that and override the existing one, but you're still going to have capabilities to grab that previous version.
Gotcha.
So right here on this model, if I click on the version 2, it's going to bring up this version history, and this is where I could actually go back and make that last one current. If this is the one I really want, I could click right here and make current, and that's going to be my current drawing.
Perfect.
Just like that. So you notice right now it's back to version 1. Simple as that.
Hey Fred, while you're on the subject of the current, let me try and get you to answer a couple more questions here. It looks like Marlon and we got a Dave here asking similar questions.
What's up, Marlon?
How does this syncing work with something offline?
So syncing, so pretty much it's...
Or let me read this one. If you do work on something offline, can you then sync whatever you've done with what's on the cloud?
Yeah, so what happens is BIM 360 on the web and the mobile device, they're synced up automatically because you're coming off the web anyways. But if you have to go online, you can go offline and take your device to the site and do a markup or whatever, but when you get it back online to the internet, it's going to sync them back up. Both.
Okay, so any work I do offline,
Yeah.
once it becomes online, it then gets updated or added.
Right.
Okay.
Once you're back online.
I think that answered. Dave or Marlon, let me know if that answered you guys' questions. If not, we can talk later.
Yeah, because your web app and your mobile device, they're going to always have the same information when they're online. So
Perfect.
good. All right. All right, let's go back to one more thing. So let's jump back to my PowerPoint really quick, guys. Sorry about all this back and forth stuff. We just thought it would be a good idea to kind of switch things up. That concludes, it concludes our intro to BIM 360 Docs Lunch and Learn. About 45 minutes. We were pretty much right on time.
Perfect.
So let's just kind of go over what we talked about and what I showed you in my live sessions before we jump into our Q&A. We talked about the benefits, and of course, Docs offers those 4 key areas of document management: the publishing, sharing, viewing, and modifying. The single source of truth. That's like that's the most important thing right there. Besides security, but single source of truth. So Docs ensures that all project teams are building from the correct document versions, giving you that single source of truth. And like we talked about, it provides industry-specific capabilities for managing all your 2D plans, 3D models, and other project documents. It gives you that role-based access control and version control and those permissions, and it's highly integrated with other 360 products. Another big thing is it's tightly integrated with AutoCAD and Revit, like we spoke about before. So, and those are two of the main tools for authoring in our industry. And it also supports virtually all 2D and 3D file formats.
Yeah, and let me interrupt you there. I think basically everything you just said, but one of the big standouts for me, or at least some of the people customers I've talked with, it's one app, or we keep going back to it, one program that actually does it all.
Right.
It really eliminates the need for a document markup tool, maybe even some of your other project-wise or plan grids, because it does do all those things. It encompasses all of document management. It's flexible. It's in the cloud,
Right.
and it gives everyone on that project that whole single source of truth.
Exactly. And then what else it does, it delivers that anywhere, anytime access for all project team members because it's a web-based tool. Gives you that mobile access to all your project plans and your documents.
Right, and it seems fairly straightforward to set up. Not a huge learning curve. Just get going.
Yeah, it's super simple to set up. Get your project set up. Add members. All that stuff is really pretty simple to do.
Perfect.
All right, so let's move on. So as far as Q&A, it seems like we answered a few questions already, and we do have some more in the queue. So here's one.
If I'm already using A360 Team or Collaboration for Revit, what's the difference between BIM 360 docs?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I guess they're similar, right? A360 Team has the file viewing, it has the markups, works off the whole idea that it's one central location, update the stuff.
Right.
I'd say probably the biggest difference is, and I'll let you answer after me, but A360 Team, as far as I'm concerned, or I'm aware of, it doesn't have the security features, right?
Right.
Everyone has the same access to it, so if I am someone in the office or one of the lead designers on it,
Right.
we all have the same access to the files.
Right.
And I know sometimes that can be a problem.
Yeah, it could be a problem. It's not a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing. But with the BIM 360 docs, you do have that permissions and security control. And also it does have version control, which Team does have version control or Collaboration for Revit. It version controls your Revit models, but it doesn't control everything else on there, which 360 docs does.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point too. So A360 Team, only the Revit models. Collaboration for Revit, just with the Revit models.
Right.
BIM 360 docs, we have to think big picture. Again, everything involved in the project as a whole.
Right.
So whether that's CAD data, your RVT files, maybe GIS data, whatever you want to throw up in the cloud.
PDFs, everything, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and to be honest, from what I see, I could possibly see maybe the two kind of combining, maybe Collaboration for Revit, maybe moving to BIM 360 docs. I kind of could see that happening where your Revit models are there in your docs as well as your other project files. So that could be something in the future that we might see. Who knows?
We'll look out for that. How many projects can you manage on BIM 360 docs? Am I limited to how much space do I have? What's the space answer? I know
the space, it's unlimited space for your files. It's unlimited.
Okay. So yeah, it's unlimited space, and then how many projects can you manage? So it's unlimited projects, and I guess that'll probably lead me into the pricing answer. But $250 per month per project, with unlimited amount of members for that project. So
and data,
right? So I'm an MEP firm. I have 10 users on BIM 360 docs or 100 users on BIM 360 docs for this project. It's the same price, $250 per month per project. If I have 4 projects, it's $1,000 per month for as many users as I want on there.
Right. Yeah, and there is that promo taking place right now, right, where you can save some money on that.
It's a brand new product. They just offered it. They just launched it. So one of the things we're trying to do is promote it with free trials. So there's free 60-day trials they're offering. If you take one of those trials and you end up getting BIM 360 docs after that trial, before the end of April, that $250 a month becomes $150 a month.
Right.
But normal price, $250 per month per project with unlimited amount of users on the project.
Right. Since you touched upon that, the next question kind of talks about the free trial version. So there is a free trial version of BIM 360 docs available to you guys, but there's only one thing with that one is it only hosts one single project. So you can use it as long as you want, but you can only host one project versus the paid version where you can host multiple projects.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Any more questions?
Yeah, let me. Will it be possible to receive a copy of the presentation? Yeah, I think we archive these lunch and learns. So for anyone on the call or someone who's new to the call, this is kind of a new concept, something we've been doing the last couple of months. Fred and I are both working on our presentation skills, but the whole idea is for us to get out there and talk about some of these products and maybe some of the things we see from our customers.
Right.
So we're always open to hearing any ideas you have for us to present on or talk about. Going to Steve's question specifically, yeah, afterwards we update these within about 24 hours. We put them on our YouTube channel.
Right.
I think they're also on our website too, so you can see an archived presentation and kind of skip around as you need fit. And then obviously, if there's something you missed and you didn't see, feel free to reach out to Fred or myself, and we'll do our best to explain and answer it for you.
Right. All right, so before I let you guys go, here's a quick wrap-up for today's Lunch and Learn. We just talked about it right now, the free 60-day trial of BIM 360 Docs, and the link is right up there on the screen. And also, we talked about the promotion, the save $100 per month per project, and that's available till April 30th, right? Correct?
Correct. So, till the end of April, about 6 weeks, there is that promotion in place.
Right.
Give me a call. I can talk to you about the details and go from there.
All right, guys. Thanks again for attending our Lunch and Learn. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a different format for us. We thank you guys for hanging in there. And have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys all again in a couple weeks.
Thanks.
See you later.
Take care.